All right, guys. So this is lesson 1.3, part 2. We're going to do examples 1 and 2. Let's read the I.
You said part 2.
Did I say part 2?
Yeah.
This is lesson 1.3, part 1. Thank you. We're going to do examples 1 and 2 today, 3 and 4 tomorrow. So you do not need your Chromebooks out, especially not open. We're just going to go through it on the board. Let's read the I can statement together. I can read, write, and use literal equations to solve problems. I can. Can we right now? No, because we haven't learned the lesson. But by the end of tomorrow, we will be able to say, I can do that. Okay. Oh, unfreeze. Everybody has their notebook out and a new page with lesson 1.3 at the top. A pencil in their hand, ready to take notes. Oh, there's actually some highlighting. It's gorgeous. I love it. Lesson 1.3 at the top. Good job. We're into like the 4th week of school now, so I'm not going to be as like sweet, but I'm like, time to take out your notebook, guys. Because it's taking up class time, okay? Your notebook should be out and ready to go. All right. This is going to look really complicated. I promise it's easier than it looks. You guys know I'm always honest with you, right? When there's a complicated problem, okay? May I continue?
Yes.
If there's a complicated problem, I tell you that it's complicated, right? This is looking complicated, but it's not. So let's just work through it together, okay? Now we're talking about rewriting literal equations. We'll define those words in just a minute. We know what to rewrite something means, right? You can write it again, or you can write it in a different way. I'm going to rewrite it, kind of rearrange it. Then we'll talk in a second about what a literal equation is. Okay, make sure heads are up, not resting on hands. Hands are at your notebook, okay? Let's read this. Julieta wants to calculate the time. It's going to sound so complicated. Don't let it confuse you. Grayson up here. Julieta wants to calculate the time it takes to earn a certain amount of interest on a principal amount in an investment with simple interest. Did anyone else just hear blah, 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 to earn a blah, blah, blah on a blah, blah, blah in a blah, blah, blah with simple blah? Okay, right? That's what it sounds like when I read it too. And then it says, what equation can she use? And it's like, I have no idea. But listen, the reason this is so confusing is because they're not actually giving you like information that you can use to solve an equation. They're just giving you information that she wants to work with, okay? And she needs to work with a very special type of equation. And it is called a formula, okay? There is a very special type of formula. This is a vocabulary word, so with your highlighters or your underlining or however you want to do it, we're still writing. We're still writing, bud. We've got our pencil in our hand and we're still writing. A formula is an equation that states a relationship between one quantity and one or more other quantities. That's what a formula is. Y equals mx plus b, that's a formula. Can you think of E equals mc squared? That's a formula. Yes, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, that's a formula. Okay, so it's basically just an equation, and here we're going to use the simple interest formula. Do you have to have, should you have this memorized right now? No. Do you have to have it memorized eventually?
No.
I don't know, it might be on your EOC reference sheet. I'll have to look into that. I think it's on your EOC reference sheet. But for now, we're just going to use the example and we're going to look and kind of identify the different parts of this very interesting looking formula. Do you see any numbers in that formula?
Nope.
No, it's just letters. Are they random letters? No, they represent very certain parts of this formula. And it gives you a little key here. The I represents the interest. The P represents the principal. Does anybody know what principal means when it comes to investing money, putting money in the bank?
It's like
yeah.
a rule. It's a rule.
A rule?
Murphy's Law or something like that.
No, but I love these guesses. The principal is your starting amount.
Oh, okay.
So, do you guys know that if you put money in the bank, just in a savings account, you technically get paid by the bank for keeping your money
Yeah,
in.
you get a very small interest.
It is very
Have a
small.
debit card.
It's very, very
It's very
tiny. But I'm telling you, they pay you to keep your money in the bank. So if your principal, the money that you put in, is super high, that's gonna help the money that you make off of it be pretty good, right? If you only put $1 in, it's not gonna make that much money. Also, it depends on the interest rate, how much, what percentage they are willing to give you for the amount of money you put in. Also, a factor in it is time. How much time you keep. Like you can't be like, I'm gonna put $5,000 in there today, and then tomorrow I want to see how much I made. Did I make 6,000? No. It takes time to accrue interest. Okay.
Because they basically invest your money in other things.
It's true.
But they, yeah.
Yeah, they actually like use your money when you're
I
not
know
looking.
that.
They're like, here, we'll keep it safe for you, and then they're like stealing out your
I
money.
know this
mom.
because I have a
Using it.
debit card.
Our
And
mom's
you
taking
have to
money.
at least have you have to at least put in $20 to start an account.
Right. Okay, so does everybody understand what these mean?
Yeah.
So basically, it's like
What
a
is
kindergarten can't learn to do geometry in 1 year. Or a second.
I'm not quite sure how that relates, but
Because-
sure.
What is
Let's go
interest?
back to it in a little bit, because I need to get these examples done, okay?
What is interest again? Not interest rate, but interest.
The interest is how much she makes.
Okay, then what's interest rate?
The interest rate is the
How-
percentage that the bank is willing to
Give back.
give back.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it gives you like 1% interest and you put $100 in,
You
you
get
made
$1.
$1. Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you put like $100 in as your principal, the interest rate is $1, but you have to keep it in over a year. In a year, you made $1. Isn't that cute? Okay.
Woo!
So this formula, which is I equals PRT. Somebody tell me what it means when PRT are all next to each other.
Part.
I think somebody's in the bathroom, so you can wait till they come back, okay? Hurt.
Yeah.
What does it mean when they're all next to each other? It's not trying to spell out a word for you, it's not hangman. Yes.
They're multiplying?
Yes, they're all being multiplied together. Now, let's go back to our blah, 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 blah over here. The very important part of the blah, blah, blah is this. She wants to calculate the time. This formula is set up to calculate the
The amount for the interest.
the interest, right? Because this is the variable that is isolated. This is the variable that is by itself. So technically, this formula is perfectly set up. If you have all of these numbers, you multiply them together and you solve for your interest. Her question is, I want to know the time that it takes if I have the values of my other ones. So what we're gonna do is rewrite this equation. Now let's go back to this vocabulary word here. The formula I equals PRT is a literal equation because the letters literally stand for certain things, certain values, okay? We call it a literal equation because it is literally standing for what we want to find. We're not just using X, Y, and Z. It's a literal equation. Literal coming from the word letters, okay? That's why they're using specific letters. Now, why did they use an R for interest rate? Because they're already using an I for interest, the simple interest, right?
IR.
Focus up here. I only have a few minutes, okay? If you want to be able to know how to do this, focus. All right, so do you agree that this is the perfect formula if I know this, this, and this, and then I can multiply them together and get my interest?
Yes.
But what if we want the time? Can we rewrite it?
Yes.
We can.
It says right there.
Yes, it says it right there, but let's focus up here. If we want to rewrite this to be able to solve for the time, we still have got our pencil in our hand and ready to take notes, right? if we're wanting to solve for time, we need to isolate that variable, right? How can I isolate time?
Move everything else to the other side.
Yes, but I can't just like pick them up and throw them. I gotta do it algebraically.
You have to like, well, I, P, R, in one thing, and T,
Hold that thought.
You have
Anybody
to
else?
divide.
Yes, thank you. You have to divide by what?
R,
PR.
PR, very good.
Wait, why not
Because
the
Because this is what we want to keep. We want to get that by itself. We want to get rid of this and this, and we want the t to be alone. Because that's what we're trying to solve for.
Oh,
Wait,
We're isolating the question. Now, why did I do that? So I can move it over here, divide by PR. Same thing to both sides. By, t is by itself. T equals interest over principal times rate. So what she's saying is, I know my interest, I know my principal and my interest rate. I want to know how much time it's going to take. So she would just take this, divide it by the product of those, and then get her time. Do we actually have to do it? No, we're going to move on.
Wait,
This
what
was-
did we
all we did was rewrite. See, I told you it's not going to be that hard. Thank you.
Applause.
Now, you guys try this. Using the original formula, I equals P R T. On your own and silently, can you rewrite this literal equation, rewrite it to calculate for the principal amount, sorry, probably spit on you a little bit. The principal amount, that's a hint. Rewrite this equation to solve for the principal. Did you do it? Okay, just give everybody
I
about
did it.
30 more seconds.
Oh, that's
I'm lost.
I'm so confused.
We just do the same thing as the other one.
Although, same idea, but
Yeah.
You got it? Hold on. I'm just gonna give you a few more seconds. Just giving a little hint when I, what was that hint? Why was it going?
Okay, P, you wanna get the P
Right,
isolated.
we wanna isolate the P. Isolating the P means getting rid of the,
Oh, PRT divided.
can I just tell them to go away?
No.
Yeah.
Go.
Go away, no, that didn't work. Go away! It didn't work. So how do I get rid of them?
It worked.
You divide.
Divide by it. Or divide it, yeah, divide by it.
Oh.
Cancel, cancel, do the same thing to the other side, and now look at my beautifully rewritten equation equals P. Don't you love when math doesn't even make you do anything with numbers?
Yes,
I love it.
Beautiful.
It actually
Oh,
makes
yeah,
so much sense.
especially when you have a decimal, you gotta divide.
Okay,
It's the only thing I've understood this year.
good. Can I erase or?
No.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
You just erased.
Thank you.
Alright, we're gonna go on to the next example. Now, we're gonna have to throw in some numbers here, but it's really not that hard, I promise. This is my last example. Everybody focus. Focus, focus, everybody focus. Okay.
Focus, focus.
Do not worry about what the book is saying. You know I'm gonna break it down for you, okay?
That book.
In a half hour, ooh, that's some numerical information. 30 minutes. Jalen is meeting his friends at the lake. That's so sweet, we don't care. 6 miles from his house. Oh, we do care about that, right? What does the 6 miles represent?
Distance.
Distance. What does the half hour represent?
Time.
Time. At what average speed? Oh, they're asking me for something. They want to know the speed.
There
We
you
don't
go.
call things a speed. We call them a
Rate.
a rate. Very good.
Okay.
Don't you love when the word problem uses synonyms, but they really mean what's the rate that he must ride his bike to get there on time? Okay, they give us the time. They give us the distance. We have to know the rate. Now, this is the standard formula for distance. Everybody head up, elbows off the desk, elbows, hands off of your head. Head off of your hands. The distance formula is a standard distance formula. Distance equals rate times time. Totally standard. Distance equals rate times time. Technically, you could plug things in and then solve algebraically, which you can totally do, and we've done it before. But this lesson is about, hey, rewrite the formula first. Then when you plug in your numbers, you just do it. You don't have to solve algebraically anymore. Okay? And just make sure your pencil is in your hand and you're taking notes, okay? All right. Distance equals rate times time. That's beautiful, but it's not going to help us here. We need to solve for our rate, right? So what do?
You have to rewrite it, and you have to take you have to isolate the R
Yep.
and take the T out, and then it would be
Got out! How do I do that?
divide. You have to
Divide by?
T.
Good, that's how we take a t out algebraically. Divide by t on both sides. Now we have rate equals distance over time, which we've talked about before, right? Miles per hour, that kind of thing. Rate equals distance over time. That's our rewritten formula. Now we can just do pluggy with our information. We have our time is a half hour. We have our distance is 6 miles. But here's a little tricky part. You always want to write your time in hours, okay? So if they tell you it's a half hour, how do you write that? 0.5. Very good. So the distance is 6 miles over 0.5 hours. It just makes it much easier to calculate your rate when you.
So like if it is always a half hour, you always put 0.5?
Yes,
Yeah.
you would put 0.5 hours. You would just convert it to hours. And you'll see that on the try it problem too. Okay, so now when you plug it in, we don't have to solve algebraically. We solved algebraically here. So now we can just divide. What's 6 divided by 0.5? 12. So it's 12 miles per hour. 12 equals the rate, 12 miles per hour. Jalen needs to ride his bike at an average speed of 12 miles per hour to get to the lake on time. Yeah, you can just enjoy the sun.
He's probably on a cruiser.
Yeah. Totally understand?
Yeah.
Let's do a try it, okay? This is the last thing we're gonna do today. Now, we're still gonna use distance equals rate times time. Identify which parts, or first identify what variable we need to solve for by the question. What do we need to solve for? The rate. Again. Now, I'm gonna give you one more hint before I have you guys solve this totally on your own, okay? How much time does he have to get there?
15 minutes.
Yes, so good. You're correct,
30
Charlotte,
minutes.
you were correct, and Jack, you were correct. You said two totally different things. You're both correct, because 15 minutes is 0.25 hours. How do we know that? 15 minutes out of an hour, which is 60 minutes, would reduce down to 1/4, which is 0.25 hours. And we always put it in hours.
So R equals
So-
1.
Huh?
Great.
I didn't even get there yet. Hold on. Remember, we aren't interested in the answer. If I wanted the answer, I could just get it from the book. We are interested in the process, okay? So, just to explain this again, they gave me my time in minutes. You always want to convert that to hours, because rate is per hour, yeah.
Isn't it 0.25 hours?
0.25 hours, yes, so that's what I wrote here. Because 15 minutes out of a total hour of 16 minutes would be 1/4 of an hour, which is 0.25 hours. A quarter of an hour. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Just like 30 minutes out of 60 minutes, which is a whole hour, is
Where'd you get the
1.
60?
Because there are 60 minutes in an hour.
Oh.
Yeah. And then that would be 0.5, but here we've got a quarter of an hour. 15 out of 60, that's 20.25. So 0.25 hours.
So you just divide that?
Divide what? I didn't even set anything up yet. You gotta set it up. We have distance over time equals rate. Do they give us the distance?
Yes.
Do they give us the time? Sort of, they do, and then we have to convert it. And then all you have to do is divide. Hold your notebook up if you want to show me your answer. Point to your answer. I got it, I see it, Carmine. See it, love it, see it, yes, that's good.
Do it.
Where is it? Ooh, sorry, just kidding, you got it right. Good, good, yes,
I actually understand this.
Yeah.
You're funny.
If you forget, check it out. It'll be on YouTube tonight, okay? You guys may pack up when you are done.
Can I cry?